thank you so much for tuning in today. I join you with my glasses on today because my eyes just, I don't know if it's allergies or what, they were not feeling the contacts. And I just feel like I should go with glasses today. I don't know what's going on with the level of dryness I've had in my eyes since finishing the antibiotic eye drops I was on, but my eyes have not felt the same. And it's just one of those situations where I'm not quite sure what to do. I may go just see my eye doctor soon, but this is real life, you know, and glasses are normal. Many of you guys wear them too. So the main idea of this video today is actually going to be to try out some new products. I've just been slowly accumulating some different products I've received in PR, and I want to really, you know, put them to the test. So I've already got all my skincare on, and this is from Makeup Forever. It's called their Super Boost Perfecting Moisture Boosting Skin Tint, and it actually has this unusual little, like, you're going to press it in at the bottom type of thing, and it's going to push out the top, which is kind of cool. It's just sort of a squeezy plastic packaging here, and I have the shade 05. So I'm going to pump some of this out. There it goes. May have gotten more than I need, but it's going to be a light, kind of breathable product. And I'll blend that in with my e.l.f. buffing foundation brush. And we've got a kitten in the mix. Hi, Biscuit. She was the one who, during the tornado warning, she had already for a while been under our couch, and it's just not easy to get her out. Like, the couch has recliners in it in different sections, and she can really hide herself in there, and so she was probably really safe in that area regardless, but I wanted her to be down in the basement with us, but she wouldn't come. And then like 10 minutes later I peeked up and I called for her and she came. So what do we have here? I definitely feel some additional moisture from it, but it feels very sheer, and I also felt like I pumped out like a pretty good amount of it. It looked like what would exceed maybe just a full pump from a bottle of foundation, let's say. And as I look at my skin, sorry, I've got a mirror right here, get a little closer to it than normal today, but I'm still seeing like a little redness in my skin peeking through, maybe evened out a bit more. This is not my first time playing with this particular product. I haven't been really in awe of the effects of it. Definitely feeling the additional moisture, but the coverage is super duper light. Like, you're gonna get more coverage out of your Wet n Wild Bare Focus Tinted Hydrator for sure. I do not have a new concealer to use today. I'm going to use this L'Oreal True Match Radiant Serum Concealer. It has the 1.5% hyaluronic acid and caffeine. C1 is my shade, and I just feel like that's going to mesh in with the extremely light coverage that's sitting on my skin right now. So I'm going to hit all my places. This is going to do some work, but it's just a very light, thin texture. And I'm going to use my Sephora 71 to just make that take up a bit more room. Now, you could totally go in with a fuller coverage concealer if you want to under these circumstances. But, you know, sometimes you look at what you own and you just say, what's the role of these various products? And I think this is a concealer that tends to just mesh right in with those lighter coverage products pretty well. So I'm dabbing in with that same brush I used for the skin tint, which, you know, the Makeup Forever thing, it calls itself a skin tint. That's what it did. It tinted my skin. I'm going to add a little bit right here. Oh, lightning in my area. Lovely. We're shooting this video on Friday, actually, and embedded in our potentially flooding rainfall, today is a little bit of severe weather, too. So I'm lightly covered. You know, this is a good natural look. I'm going to come in with some of my newish setting powder that I've been using quite a bit lately. Wet n Wild comes out with a soft pink, and I'm loving it. I really am. I always enjoyed the texture of their regular translucent powder, and I do find this to be even more brightening than that. So I think it's a good option, and I can just use it with my little triangle puff right in there. I'm trying not to overly mess with the eyes. It's like my eyes are just these little temperamental princesses these days, and I just need to step back. So I'm feeling set on that under eye and T-zone area. Feeling a bit more moisture elsewhere on the face, but it's not super major. I'd mentioned briefly in my bronzers video that I had some new contour sticks that had been sent to me by ABH, and a couple of the shades are kind of relevant to my skin tone. They're called the Smooth Blur Contours, and we like the stick format. They are pretty smooth. There's this really light, cool one. That one is called Half Tone. So it's really giving that naturally shadowed appearance, and then this one is called Shadow, and it's deeper and it brings a bit more warmth. And then there are other rich shades that go beyond these. I'm going to use a little bit of both so you can see. I'm going to take a little bit of the half tone shade. See how that looks? and then maybe give ourselves a bit of a boost with the shade called Shadow. But this color, you can see, pretty easily blendable, but gives just a really soft look. I think a fair skin tone might really enjoy this. I'm pretty sure Persona has like a lighter, cooler option as well in their Dream Stick range. But yeah, there's a little bit of that, and it leaves me, if I am expecting a little bit of bronziness, obviously that leaves me wanting a little bit more. I might layer on some of the shade that's called Shadow. We don't need a ton, but let's just do a little bit. Sephora 56 is what I'm using, and just buffing right on in. See, pretty easy blend. Tapping that in, can you see the increased depth and just overall impact with that shade? But I'm not having any more difficulty blending it at all. So hopefully that looks okay. I chiseled myself out a little bit. I do like these sticks. I haven't used them nearly as much as the things that were mentioned like in my favorite bronzers video. And the one called Halftone in particular is a specific contour type of product. So if that is something you're looking for, just a heads up there. Also, we have a new product from Benefit. It's the Hula Wave. Look at this cute packaging, little compact. This says original, and then it's called a bronzing balm. So you open it up, you can see I've swatched into it already. It's got that Hula true bronzish tone, but this actually has a little bit of glow in it, a little bit of a sheen. So this came in a PR package, and they did give a brush as well, I guess, that could be used with this. It is a very cute little chunk brush. I'm going to go directly into the product and apply some of this like in my bronzer zones. Just got a lot of like cream contourish things happening today, because this feels like it could be a contour tone on me too. But it's very thin to the touch. Like I noticed that when I swatch it with my finger, very lightweight cream. Whereas the ABH, like if you pass those sticks across your skin, you feel a certain thickness of product laying down. And this just feels very thin and light and might lend itself more to a true bronzer application. I'm just kind of getting all across my forehead there. In person, I am seeing a little bit of glow sort of pop off. Let's use some here, and let's kind of get almost to a blush zone with this. So I'm going up a little higher than I did with the contour products and just dabbing, pressing, seeing what we get. I mean, this is definitely something to play with. I feel like I need to continue using it some more to really know like how effective I feel like this is, because right now I just feel like I'm getting that sheer, very light bronze. I feel like I'm putting the tone of Rimmel Sun Bronze all over my skin, but just in a cream type of format, I guess. To be continued there, but I do like this brush very much. I think that could be a helpful brush for obviously using this product and maybe even other things that require a sort of precise buff on the skin. The thing is, I'm not huge on when we've got this wide base, because that takes up a lot of room in your brush storage. If you have a cup or just any kind of thing where you're sticking it down in, suddenly that one's taking up all the real estate. And they did send out a regular Hula as well, like it's been repackaged, but I think it noted like this is the same formula. I don't really need to open this up and use it because like I already have Hula. But right now we're gonna move into blush, and I recently got the first PR package I've ever received from Morphe. They sent me all of these little blush compacts that they're making now. These are called Cheek Thrills, and they're a multi-finish face trio. So when you open them up, you're getting kind of like that Patrick Ta combo product experience. At a glance, it really reminded me of the One Size compacts, but they're putting actually two different creams under this window. One is just a full colored cream, one has shimmer, and then a powder down here. Everyone comes with a mirror, and the outer packaging indicates what's going on inside, which I do love that. I've experimented with a few different ones. This bright, cool pink one is the one I'm going to work with today, and I've enjoyed these. They've been very true to color, I feel like. Sometimes I don't feel as though I get a whole lot out of the shade that's been placed here. Obviously it's coming off big time on my finger. It's looking like kind of a blush topper vibe, but maybe I've just not been applying enough of it. I don't know. I'm gonna go into the top cream there and get a little bit on my cheeks. I don't want to overload, but I know Patrick Ta has a real cool pink. I remember in one of the blush palettes I got from Patrick Ta, there's a shade that reminded me so much of this. But when you take that bright, cool pink and you sheer it out, it can look really, really fresh. So I'm taking that Sephora 56 and just tapping it in. Again, apologies if the blending isn't perfect today. Obviously, it would be helpful if my contacts were in right now. But I got that first shade blended in, and then let's pick up a little bit of that cream. And I don't know if you're picking up on some glow on top of my cheeks. Could go in with a totally separate brush for that. It's not to the point of being its own like full-on highlighter because there is still a decent amount of like pinky pigment in there. And you wouldn't have to use all these steps, but it's neat that they're available. It's blush layering, but it's making it very convenient for the tone you want to work with. And I've never been one to leave a blush out, so I am going to tap into that powder at the bottom as well, which if you're wondering pigment-wise what that's like, very full color. So I'm just going to get a little tap and lay it down on top. They've got so many different tones. There's more natural colors, I guess you could say. I'll show you a few of the other compacts. I've tried probably about half by now. So like there's one that looks like this and it's giving you that really pretty muted kind of dusty rose, borderline bronzy cheek. This was the first one I used, the dark berry one, and that's fun because that reminds me a lot of a Patrick Ta duo that I have in terms of like the cream and the powder. And with the softer ones, like I had just shown you this and called it sort of a dusty rose, and then there's this one that looks almost like a straight up bronzer. This is called Sunset Swim and this one was called After Party. So you can see the rosiness coming out in that. Couple of bright, almost corally options. Maybe I should expand on those in a future video if you're interested. Last thing I'm going to do on my skin is play with one of these sticks from L'Oreal. This is the Lumi Le Glace highlighter stick. So I had mentioned that I had used one of their Le Glows, and so the Le Glace is actually more of a just like making the surface of your skin look wet and dewy. If you look closely at it, it's like they've embedded a little bit of a pearlescent sheen in that stick, and that's going to help that straight up dewy vibe pop off even more on your skin. So like I'm going to just get a little bit. I feel like this is a product that you could potentially really over apply, and if you are an oily skin person, I don't know that you'd even really want to go there at all with this. But this is the 610 Glassy Pearl shade, and I'm going to take a little like highlighter-ish brush and just press over what I put on. It's not a difficult blending process or anything. If you're not a fan of tacky texture, which I'm not particularly in love with that, you'll want to keep your application really light. You can still take advantage of the product. Like I'm not feeling sticky, but I kept it light and I'm going over it with a brush. So yeah, that's what we're working with face-wise right now. I'm going to continue on with brows and eyes, not doing anything real major. I didn't have any new stuff to really talk about there. And then I can show you a new lip thing I'm very excited about. All right, friends, I just did brows. I'm choosing to leave my eyes alone actually today because the more I think about it, the more I may like try to slip into the eye doctor today, and they can maybe give me a look or tell me if there's something I should be taking for allergies in my eyes or something that can help me overcome the dryness post antibiotics, or if that's just going to have to work itself out in time. I don't know. I just got this feeling in my gut that I need to get it handled and get it checked out. So here's what I have for lips though. Something fun, okay? Something uplifting. Pop Tint lip stains. I'm excited about these. Fresh fruit stained lips in a bottle, they say. Instantly this lip stain leaves a fresh dewy finish to your lips and sets to a lasting natural your lips but better tint. So I love that idea. This is not the type of thing I'm going to be able to like try one on, swipe it off, because if there's stains, I won't be able to totally remove one, and we won't be able to get a good vibe of like what actually is that color. So I'm gonna need to pick one. We have Berry Drops, Peach Fizz, Strawberry Spritz, that looks more pinky, and then this one looks the most red, I guess, in the bottle. Maybe look at the caps. The shininess is kind of hard to take. This reddish one is called Cherry Splash. So what do you say? I'm thinking of the Cherry Splash today. So we're gonna see initially, I guess, some shine. Really big buckfoot applicator. Oh, it's laying down a lot of product and feels very wet immediately. It feels like cold, like it's tickling my lips. Spread that out a little. Oh, it's like there's absolutely no need to press hard because this applicator's so loaded, but at the same time, you're like tickling the surface of your lips. I wish the applicator like wasn't so big and carrying so much, because the intensity here is just driving me a bit bonkers. Smells like cherry Kool-Aid. Okay, so we have that, and it is thin, wet, bright red. It sounded better on the card when I read it at first. However, keep in mind, this is gonna stain. Just, am I willing to go about my life with this intensity of color still feeling wet for some time? I need to grab a Kleenex, and I do not have one in this room. I can tell it's gonna look glassy for some time, just until that naturally starts to wear down. But I felt so overloaded, like this thing's holding a ton and it's really bright. But let's just fast forward that process of wear down. Good, a good blot, a lot blots off. I still don't feel like I got maybe the cleanest application on my lips, but we're totally stained for sure. I am enjoying what's left over. Gosh, it could even blot more. That looks pretty. I like the stain. What do you guys think about these? I think they've been out for a little while now. They just now got sent my way, but like, do you enjoy these? Do you feel like the process of application is completely overwhelming? But I love the thought that some lasting color is gonna remain. And there may be one of the other tones that I would enjoy a little bit more having in that glossy mode. Maybe there's one that's gonna be a little less intense. I just have to try them out more. But I am into the stain left behind. I'm kind of wondering what tone I would use if I wanted to define that out a little bit more with some liner, because I'm just doing a very eyeless look today. Maybe just a very casual color like L'Oreal Worth It could just give a little more depth and play up the stain a bit more for the day, you know, just going forward. The bottom lip really got it, like it looks brighter. Another newish thing that I had been sent like a while back were these from Too Faced. They're pillow balms. They have some new scents that they put them out in. And one of them is Pink Pineapple Kiss. And it has this kind of like soft, rosy look. And it smells so good. So same formula that they originally make these in. Gosh, that smells good. But like they've got a watermelon that looks like a pretty strong pink. They still have the banana, the original. Remember when I got the duo of them around my birthday? They have a shade that looks like this called Ice Crystal that's actually part of the range now. But I'm gonna put some of this on top. These feel so good. They're like thick and rich and moisturizing, but not annoying. And they feel kind of cooling too. I like that. Kind of evens out that stain that we're working with there today. So yeah, guys, obviously the primary stuff we were working with today in terms of new products, lots of new complexion things that I'm excited to put to use more, try more shades. I'm not huge on the skin tint from Makeup Forever. It was something I was noticing as I was doing my brows and I was really looking up close in the mirror. The way my nose looked, which was layered with the skin tint, the concealer, and then the powder on top, like just didn't look fresh and all that even. And I don't typically have that complaint with the Wet n Wild Loose powder. And the L'Oreal concealer is not like a thick product, but something about maybe the way it layered up on top of that skin tint, it just didn't look that smooth and even. It almost looked a little patchy. But everywhere else seems okay. The under eye actually looks pretty good. I can see, even with the glasses on, I can still see that cheek saying, hey, I want to pop off today. So thank you guys for bearing with me. Thanks for watching. Hopefully I can get my whole eye situation sorted out and not have any more issues in the morning when I need to shoot videos. But yeah, I appreciate you all. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you again very soon. I love you. Bye.